Operation Black Tide, the admiral who broke the chain. The Atlantic seaport of Grayhaven never truly slept. Even at 0200 hours, the docks pulsed with life, cargo cranes groaning under weight, waves slamming against steel hulls, and the distant hum of engines blending into a restless symphony. But on this particular night, something was different. There was a tension in the air, a silence beneath the noise, like the city itself was holding its breath. At exactly 0200 hours, a classified operation was activated, Operation Black Tide. Officially labeled as a civil unrest containment protocol, it carried all the markings of a standard deployment. But buried deep within encrypted channels and fragmented command strings was something far more dangerous, something hidden. Under total radio silence, Task Force Raven 13 infiltrated Grayhaven. They were elite, hand-picked, highly trained, and battle-hardened. Many of them were black American soldiers, chosen not just for their skill, but for reasons that would only become clear much later. They moved like shadows through the narrow streets and crowded dockyards, wearing no insignias, asking no questions, following only orders. Inside their comms, a distorted voice cut through the static. Raven Actual, this is Command. Execute Directive Omega-7. Civilians are now classified as non-compliant assets. You are authorized to proceed without delay. Sergeant Malik to Reaper Kane paused for a fraction of a second. Non-compliant assets, he muttered quietly. Since when do civilians get labeled like that? But hesitation in the field could be deadly, and orders were orders, so he signaled his team forward. Within minutes, Grayhaven's civil district descended into chaos. Doors were breached, flashbangs detonated in tight hallways, and families were dragged into the streets, confused and terrified. Dock workers, vendors, and children found themselves caught in a nightmare they didn't understand. Reports started coming in, no confirmed hostiles, no resistance, nothing that justified the level of force being used. Contact negative on hostiles, one operator reported. Then why are we escalating? Another voice replied, tension rising. Then a new command came through, colder than the last. Escalate to force level Delta. That wasn't crowd control, that was lethal force authorization. Reaper tightened his grip on his weapon. Something was wrong, very wrong. Miles away, watching through encrypted surveillance feeds, a man long erased from official records leaned closer to his screen. Commander Elijah Cross, once a Navy SEAL admiral, now a ghost. Years ago, Cross had refused to carry out an unlawful strike based on false intelligence, a decision that cost him his career. He had been discharged, silenced, and erased, but not broken. He had spent years watching, learning, waiting, and now he recognized the pattern. The same type of fragmented commands, the same coded language, the same manipulation tactics. This isn't containment, Cross whispered to himself. It's a setup. He hacked into a secure relay channel and intercepted a transmission never meant to be heard outside the highest levels of command. Primary objective, destabilize Grayhaven Port. Secondary objective, implicate Task Force Raven 13. Narrative control will follow. Cross's expression hardened. The soldiers on the ground weren't just following orders, they were being set up to take the blame for a disaster that was being engineered in real time. A controlled operation designed to create chaos, then pin it on them. Without hesitation, Cross activated a long-dormant network known as Echo Protocol. Encrypted signals burst to life as he forced his way into the team's communication channel. Raven, this is Iron Saint. There was a moment of silence before Kane responded. That's not possible. You're off-grid, declared inactive. Listen carefully, Cross said, his voice calm but urgent. Your orders are compromised. You are being set up. Stand down immediately. Gunfire echoed in the background as the situation spiraled into chaos. "We've got units engaging civilians. Someone just gave the order to fire," Kane said. "That order didn't come from real command," Cross replied sharply. "Your communications are being hijacked." There was a long pause, the kind where a decision defines everything that comes after. Then Kane made his choice. "All units, this is Reaper. Hold fire. I repeat, hold fire." Some soldiers obeyed. Others, confused or cut off from the corrected signal, continued the assault. The situation fractured into chaos. Cross didn't wait. He moved into Grayhaven alone, navigating through burning streets and collapsing structures. He disabled surveillance drones, intercepted rogue transmissions, and began to identify the real threat: Black Ops contractors embedded within the operation. They were the ones pushing the violence, escalating the situation, making sure the chaos couldn't be undone. Eventually, Cross linked up with Kane at Dock 17. Explosions lit up the harbor behind them as parts of the port went up in flames. "They're trying to erase everything," Kane said, breathing heavily. Cross nodded. "Then we make sure the truth survives." Their target was Node 0, the central communications hub where the false directives were being created and transmitted. If they could reach it, they could expose everything. The approach was brutal. Automated defenses, armed contractors, and carefully designed kill zones blocked every path. But Cross and Kane moved with precision, cutting through resistance step by step. Every corner was a fight. Every second counted. Inside the core chamber, they found the man behind it all, a high-ranking official hidden behind layers of secrecy and power. "Admiral Cross," the man said calmly, almost amused. "You should have stayed buried." Cross raised his weapon, steady and unwavering. "You should have remembered who you were dealing with." Gunfire erupted through the chamber. A system sparked and alarms blared. Kane rushed to the terminal, bypassing security protocols with urgency. "Uploading everything," Kane shouted. "All transmissions, all directives. It's going public." "Do it," Cross replied, holding off advancing threats. Seconds stretched into what felt like minutes. Then finally, "It's out," Kane confirmed. The truth spread instantly across global networks, unfiltered, undeniable, unstoppable. By sunrise, everything had changed. Operation Black Tide was no longer a secret. The world saw it for what it truly was, a manipulation. Task Force Raven 13 was cleared. The civilians of Grayhaven were no longer voiceless, and those responsible were exposed to the world. As for Elijah Cross, he disappeared once again into the shadows. No recognition, no reward, no acknowledgement, just silence. Because some heroes don't stay to be seen, they stay to make sure others survive. In the end, this wasn't just a story about war. It was about choices, about questioning orders when something feels wrong, about standing for truth even when the cost is everything. It reminds us that systems can fail, but individuals still have the power to do what is right, and that unity will always be stronger than division. If this story kept you hooked from beginning to end, make sure you like this video, share it with others who love powerful and suspenseful stories, and drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Kane's position? And don't forget to subscribe, because that's the only fuel that keeps these stories coming. Until next time, stay sharp, stay aware. Bye, and I'll see you in the next video.